Good afternoon, students. Class 10th English, new chapter, the necklace. This is the part 1 from your reader, Footprints Without Feet. Students, we are just going very fast. So, this time I have planned to go in very simple and small parts. So, this is the first part of the story, The Necklace. This story is very interesting about the women. What is the nature of the women and how she comes in the trouble. That is also given in this story. The Necklace. Introduction to the lesson. The story revolves around a selfish lady named Matilda. She is unsatisfied with her life as she wants a rich husband, but because she belongs to a family of clerks and her family is unable to give dowry, she is married to a clerk. One day, both the husband and wife are invited to a party at the minister's house. But Matilda does not have good clothes and jewels to wear at such a party. Her husband suggests her to buy a dress and ask an old friend for jewelry. She then borrows a necklace from her friend and goes to the party. What happens next proves to be a lesson for the unhappy lady. So what happens? This is the introduction of the story. Now I am going to tell you about the author, Henry Rene Albert Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant is very famous story writer, was a French writer, remembered as a master of the short story form and as a representative of the naturalist school of writers who depicted human lives and destinies and social forces in disillusioned and often pessimistic terms. He wrote some 300 stories, 6 novels, 3 travel books and 1 volume of verse. You can see his picture also here. On to the chapter now. I am going to just explain this small beautiful story. She was one of those pretty young ladies born as if through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. She had no dowry, no hopes, no means of becoming known, loved and married by a man either rich or distinguished, and she allowed herself to marry a petty clerk in the office of the Board of Education. She was simple, but she was unhappy. She suffered incessantly, feeling herself born for all delicacies and luxuries. She suffered from the poverty of her apartment, the shabby walls and the worn chairs. All these things tortured and angered her. When she seated herself for dinner opposite her husband, who uncovered the tureen with a delighted air, saying, "Oh, the good pot pie! I know nothing better than that," she would think of elegant dinners, of shining silver. She thought of the exquisite food served in marvelous dishes. She had neither frocks nor jewels, nothing, and she loved only those things. She had a rich friend, a schoolmate at the convent, who she did not like to visit. She suffered too much when she returned. She wept for whole days from despair and disappointment. On one evening, her husband returned elated, bearing in his hand a large envelope. "Here," he said, "here is something for you. My dear students, in the raid I have given you the words and the meanings. So if you find any word difficult, you can go through the meaning. Just like in this first line you will find that the elated word is given here. Make aesthetically happy, very happy, that is elated. Matilda Loisel was a pretty young lady who was born into a middle-class family who worked as clerks. Her family did not have any means to arrange dowry for her marriage. She did not have any other means by which she could befriend a rich man to be loved or married to him. So, due to these circumstances, she had to marry a clerk in the office of the Board of Education, and because of this, she was unhappy. She used to think that destiny was unfair to her and that she deserved much better than what she had got. She used to get angry and was tortured by the condition of her apartment. The dirty walls and the torn furniture used to irritate her. She used to think about elegant dinners being served in marvelous dishes when her husband used to praise the homemade food served in a simple dish. She did not have fancy jewels or good dresses. She had a school friend whom she did not like to meet, as she was a rich lady. After meeting her, she used to cry for days together, looking at the condition of her life. One day, her husband came back home from work in a happy mood, holding an envelope in his hand. He informed her that the envelope was for her and asked her to open it. She quickly drew out a printed card on which were inscribed these words: "The Minister of Public Instruction and Madame George Ramponneau asks the honor of Mr. and Mr. and Ma'am Loisel's company Monday evening, January 18 at the minister's residence." Instead of being delighted as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation spitefully upon the table, murmuring, "What do you suppose I want with that? But my dear, I thought it would make you happy. You never go out, and this is an occasion, and a fine one. Everybody wishes one, and it is very select. Not many are given to employees. You will see the whole official world there." She looked at him with an irritated eye and declared impatiently, "What do you suppose have to wear to such a thing as that?" He had not thought of that. He stammered, "Why, the dress you wear when we go to the theatre. It seems very pretty to me." He was silent, stupefied in dismay at the sight of his wife weeping. He stammered, "What is the matter? What is the matter?" By violent effort she had controlled her vexation and responded in a calm voice, wiping her moist cheeks, "Nothing, only I have no dress, and consequently I cannot go to this affair. Give your card to some colleague whose wife is better fitted out than I." He was grieved but answered, "Let us see, Matilda, how much would a suitable costume cost? Something that would serve for other occasions." "Something very simple?" She reflected for some seconds, thinking of a sum of that she could ask for without bringing with it an immediate refusal and frightened exclamation from the economical clerk. Finally she said, in a hesitating voice, "I cannot tell exactly, but it seems to me that 400 francs ought to cover it." She quickly pulled out the printed card, as she was excited to know what it was about. It was an invitation from the minister. The couple had been invited for a dinner party at the house of the Minister of Public Instruction. She was supposed to be delighted as Mr. Loisel expected, but she got really angry and threw the card while murmuring something. She asked her husband what did he want her to do with the card. He replied that he had thought that she would be happy as she never went out, and this was a rare occasion to which not many employees were invited. He also told her that she would be meeting a lot of people from his office there. Matilda asked him what could she wear to such a grand party. he stammered as he had not thought of that. He first asked her to wear the dress that she wore when they went out for movies, but then as she was weeping, he asked her about the matter. She wiped her tears from her wet cheeks and replied calmly that she could not be a part of such a grand affair and that should give away the card to some other colleague whose wife was better than her. He felt bad for his wife as he saw her crying and asked her the cost of a simple dress that could be worn by her on other occasions as well. She thought of an amount that would neither be refused by him nor scare the poor clerk. Then she said that she would be able to manage a dress in 400 francs. He turned a little pale, for he had saved just this sum to buy a gun that he might be able to join some hunting parties the next summer with some friends who went to shoot larks on Sunday. Nevertheless, he answered, "Very well, I will give you 400 francs, but try to have a pretty dress." The day of the ball approached and Madame Loisel seemed sad, disturbed, anxious. Nevertheless, her dress was nearly ready. Her husband said to her one evening, "What is the matter with you? You have acted strangely for 2 or 3 days." And she responded, "I am vexed not to have a jewel, nothing to adorn myself with. I shall have such a poverty-stricken look. I would prefer not to go to this party." He replied, "You can wear some natural flowers. In this season they look very chic." She was not convinced. "No," she replied, "there is nothing more humiliating than to have a shabby air in the midst of rich women." Then her husband cried out, "How stupid we are! Go and find your friend, Madame Forestiers, and ask her to lend you her jewels." She uttered a cry of joy. "It is true," she said. "I had not thought of that." The next day she took herself to her friend's house and related to her story of distress. Madame Forester went to her closet, took out a large jewel case, and related to her story of distress. Huh? Brought it, opened it, and said, "Choose, my dear." She saw at first some bracelets, then a collar of pearls, then a Venetian cross of gold and jewels of admirable workmanship. She tried the jewels before the glass, hesitated, but could neither decide to take them nor leave them. Then she asked, "Have you nothing more?" "Why, yes, look for yourself. I do not know what will please you." Suddenly she discovered in a black satin box a superb necklace of diamonds. Her hands trembled as she took it out. She placed it about her throat against her dress and was ecstatic. Then she asked in a hesitating voice, full of anxiety, "Could you lend me this?" "Only this?" "Why, yes, certainly." So in this way, this is the half story I am going to just leave you. Some words are also given and their meanings also given in the read one. You can just read and try to understand the meaning of the story and what happens in the story next, that we will see in the part 2. Till then, children, enjoy first part and let me know in your comment that whether this story was very interesting for you or not, and rest of the things, rest of the second part and other part number 3, that is some question and answers or MCQs, I'll be giving you. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. Have a nice day.